right, the first step to drawing our amphora is writing our name and our class code. Now when we draw today, we're going to draw very lightly. This is because you might want to erase, correct something, basically sketching, and then you can put in more definite lines once you have your shape. The first thing we are going to do is create our top line and our bottom line to make sure we're drawing it very big. So the first line I'm going to do is a horizontal line. I'm going to be drawing a little darker so you can see it, but remember to draw lightly. You're drawing a horizontal line that is about 1/3 of the paper. So if I took it 3 times, it would make up the width of that paper. Then we are going to imagine bringing it straight down, and directly under it, I'm going to be doing a curved line. Not quite as curvy as a smiley face, a little more subtle. And if I was to take my pencil and go straight up, it should line up. So this one I made a little too wide. And that feels pretty good. The next step we are going to do is make almost like a quarter circle line from each of these 2 horizontal ends here. I'm going to fix the angle here a little. And then I'm going to just connect that line with another horizontal line. Make sure it is parallel to this one, parallel to the edge of the paper. Next, I'm going to make the neck for my amphora. I'm going to go here. It's almost a straight line with a very subtle curve inward. So we're starting wider and just slightly going in. Remember, as you are working, we want to imagine if we put a line down the middle of the paper and folded it, that everything would be symmetrical, meaning it would match on each side. When you're done with that neckline, you are going to attach it with a curve. I like to imagine like a t-shirt neck opening. All right, then we're going to come down to the bottom. We are going to give this a little vertical line on this side and a little vertical line on this side. And we are going to attach those 2 vertical lines with another curved line that is very parallel to this curved line. Meaning we don't want it to get skinny and then big again. We want to keep it even as we're working our way over. After that, we are going to just make a slight curve in and stop, and a slight curve in and stop, checking back and forth that your sides look symmetrical. All right, the next part is the most important part. It's where we are going to make the main shape of our amphora. I like to think of a heart shape, but the heart doesn't have a point at the bottom. It has a curve at the bottom, and I'll show you what I mean. So I'm going to come out here. I'm going to curve out and draw lightly for this part. You're definitely going to probably want to fix the shape. Curve out and in. And then as I come, I'm not going to do the bottom curve yet. I'm going to come to this side, and I want to be looking at what I did over here and try to match it. Remember, as we're drawing big, we want to use our whole arm. We don't want to be drawing little with our wrist. Our whole arm allows us to make more steady lines. All right, and that looks pretty good to me. Now I'm going to do that shape at the bottom that connects them, and it's kind of like this shape down here, just like a slight curve. And I do need to go a little wider over here. I'm going to adjust that. So we are pretty much done. We're just missing a few things up here. We need to add one more line here. It's just going to be parallel to this. It's going to stay exactly outside of it. This length should be the same as this length. All right, now we are missing two very important things here. There's a pretty easy way to do this. I like to start almost at this point right under it, and I'm going to curve up, almost like I'm going to reach the top of this, but then I'm going to curve down, and I'm going to meet up right where that goes down. Now I'm going to try to match it on the other side. So I'm going to go up. All right, and then the last step is we are going to create another line inside of this, but it's really easy because we're just going to imagine following this one with the same thickness inside. Again, anytime you're making a big line, use your whole arm. Take any of your extra time to just clean up and finalize your lines. And then you are done. Good work. Okay, so now we need to add a base color to our amphora. And as we learned, the clay was a red clay. So we are going to use reds and oranges and basically fill up all the space that we drew. Also, you want to be really careful not to go outside of the lines. We're going to try to keep this background preserved as we do our project. So just try your hardest not to go outside of the lines. There's no rule to how you color it in. You can divide it up into sections or color it all one color or just do it random. I'm going to outline mine just to help me stay inside the lines. Staying inside the lines can be kind of hard for me. There's some different techniques to coloring. I can go back and forth. I can do circles. I think the circles is probably more efficient to covering all the white space, which is what we want to do. Our goal is to cover all the white space with bright color. And this is going to be in the background of our scratch art project. So no one is going to see the full coloring. We're basically just creating bright areas of color that will be exposed when we scratch away. Oh, if you're anything like me, this might happen. Don't worry about it unless you're doing it on purpose. Don't worry about it. And you can peel paper away. Let's just make sure we get this in the recycling. You can use another color on top of a color to fill in the white spaces. It is totally up to you. This is not going to work for this project. Coloring like this is not going to work because we want it to be bright. You can do it kind of loose circles and then go back with tighter circles. There's lots of different coloring strategies. The main thing is to give your hands a break every once in a while. Stretch them out because your hands are going to get sore. It's not really about pushing hard, but it is about getting bright. So to do that, we need our lines really close together. And if you are firm with it, it is going to also be a little brighter. If I color softly like this the whole time, it's not going to be as bright as if I'm pushing firmer like this. So this isn't our design of our amphora, this is the background and the design will be in the scratch art. So you're not trying to draw any patterns really, you're just drawing different areas of color. Don't worry about staying so separate in your sections. Let them kind of bleed into each other because you can catch more white spots that way. If I'm really trying to get a white area covered up, I could do little circles this way, and then I could do little circles going this way, and that's a great way to cover. We call that, in pencil drawing, we call that cross hatching. We're crossing our lines different ways. And just go over one more time and try to catch as many white spots as you can. Make sure we get our crayon paper in the garbage and we return our crayons to where they need to go and stack up our papers. Okay, after your coloring is all the way in and it looks solid, you are going to come get some acrylic paint from Mrs. Tidwell. Also, this paint can stain your clothes, so you will want a paint shirt as well if you care about what you're wearing. You'll grab a brush as well from Mrs. Tidwell, and you are going to paint over the crayon. You're going to notice right away the paint is going to feel very slippery on the crayon. It's also going to look kind of see-through. That is okay because today your goal is to paint 2 layers. Don't think about getting it super dark, just think about getting it covered. You could take a pretty big glob, put it in the middle, and then start spreading it out. The key here is that you want it nice and even. You don't want big globs because that's going to make it harder later when you do your scratch art. I like to slow down when I'm trying to make a steady line on the edge, and then when you're in the middle, you can go a little bit faster. Don't worry if you can see your brush strokes. You're going to be able to take care of that on the second layer. It's going to look a lot more solid. You can turn your brush different ways. I'm going to go this way to get in the smaller spot. My handles are like perfectly the size of the brush, but if yours aren't, I also have some green brushes like this that you can come get when you get to your handles. I wouldn't use the green brushes on the amphora because it's just going to take you longer. But if you need a smaller brush for the handles, that's totally fine. And just come see me if you need a refill of paint. You can always turn it. That's a great way to reach something. Try really hard not to get on your white background. If you accidentally do, that's fine. And we're just covering all of the crayon. And then we're gonna let that dry for a few minutes and then go ahead and start our second layer. As you can see right here where I started, it's already pretty dry. So I'll just start where I started before and let the fresher areas continue to dry. So I just had a mishap right here because I tried to set my brush like this and it rolled right off. So do not set your brush on the cup. A good option could be just like a little piece of paper towel. I wouldn't put it right on the table because then you're gonna have a black smudge on the table, and then as you move this, it's gonna get black on it. All right, and now I've started on that second layer. As you'll notice, it's picking up the old paint. Just keep going. It's kind of frustrating when that happens, but just keep going because you can always go back and add a third layer to take care of that. Overall, it's covering it better than this side. Those spots where it pushed up the paint, you can go back to at the way end when they're a little more dry. We still want to get nice even spread of our paint. Not any globs. All right, so now I've gone over the whole thing a second time. I'm just gonna quickly look for those spots where the paint was pushing up. So I'm going the opposite way that I went before, hoping that crossing it like that is gonna cover those. It's working pretty good, except right there. Just try your best. It's not gonna be solid black. All right, so now I have my second layer. I did get some paint over here. I'm not gonna stress about that. I'm just gonna leave it. I'm going to take this over to the dry rack, put it with my matching table color. There are two big containers on my table. One is going to be for the cups. One is going to be for the brushes. If you are the first to finish, you decide which one is for the cups and which is for the brushes. If you used a towel, take care of that. Maybe any extra paint on the table. Our sink specialists are going to be picking up all of the cups at all of the tables and washing them today. You're going to want a slow stream of water. Okay, when you are done with your acrylic paint and it is dry, you are on to the carving phase. This is the best part of the project and what we've been working towards. So take your time and use really good craftsmanship when you are carving today. We are going to be using a few different tools. This scratch tool is wooden and it can be sharpened in the pencil sharpener. It gets very sharp, so just use caution when you're walking to and from. Obviously point them down when you walk. This one is metal. It can get wide spaces when you hold it this way, and it can get narrow, more straight spaces when you hold it this way. Remember, these tools are just for our artwork. They are not for the table. They are not for our friends. You will lose your tool, and all I will give you is a toothpick, and this project is very hard with a toothpick. So please be respectful when you're using these tools. There's a reason that I only let 6th grade use these tools. The assignment today is to show one symbol about yourself at least. You can do more than that. And then you need to show at least 5 pattern bands on your amphora as well. Here is a great resource. We will have these around the table to give you good ideas for patterns. In talking about symbols in art, we are going to be using images. So there are no words or numbers allowed on this project. That includes 6-7 or 4-1. There will be no numbers on this project allowed. Remember, we're also trying to show that it's 3-dimensional. So you want to work on a slight curve when you draw. You want to carve deep enough, but not so deep that you see the white of the paper. We're just going to the crayon level. As you're carving, you're going to get these little black crumbs. Just brush them into a pile. And then at the end of class, we're going to throw those away. If you leave them all over the table, they actually stick to your paper and they're really hard to brush off. They'll also stick to the table and they're really hard to clean off. I went out of the crayon a little bit when I was painting, so it's not going to allow me to carve here where I went outside of the lines. It's only going to allow me to carve easily where the crayon is under. As you can see, the different reds and oranges are coming through, which looks pretty cool. Think about if you're going to have thick lines or thin lines. I think this one sometimes works better for curving, whereas this one works really well for straight lines. You can see it's the way that I did my brush strokes through there that's just not letting it carve very well. Don't get hung up on that. If there's areas that don't let you carve, just do your best. It's going to give it character. It's going to make it look older. All right, so I've already incorporated one symbol about me with a pattern. I did waves because I love the beach. You can also make a bigger band and do a picture for your symbol. It's more aesthetically pleasing when you're carving out negative space, which is what I'm doing, to go in the same direction. You don't have to do that, but it's going to draw attention to it in a way that you might not like if you don't. Right around these zigzag triangle figures, I might do them in a different direction just to outline them a little bit better. I think carving out the sections first is actually a really good idea. I should have showed you that at the beginning. That feels a lot better to me than looking at the whole amphora. I can like tackle these sections individually. So do that at the beginning instead of going right into your patterns. If you're going to sharpen this one, just make sure you get the black stuff off of the tip before you sharpen it. I'm almost carving this one like with stretched out oval shapes because I want my shapes that I'm doing to look a little more rounded. I don't want them to look like perfectly squared off. So as I'm carving, I'm going in an oval motion. This wooden one is also a great one for sketching. Make sure you balance out tighter designs with looser designs. It'll also save you time and it won't look too busy.